Caitlin, thank you so much. This New Year's, I realized that I talk too much. And I realized I made a resolution to listen more. And then Mindy in the mirror said, "Would you please talk?" And so I wrote it. And then I saw you all tonight, and I thought, I can't read to you. So I'll do my best. It's pretty axiomatic, that the world has become more connected and more aware of itself in the sense it's just one system, it's one world. And I wish I could say it's because of consciousness, but it is really much more to do with digital, technology and the internet and smartphones and so forth. And thus far, much of that sense of connectivity has been really occasioned by terrorism. And single acts by even one person can absolutely transform the world and change how we feel and how we see each other and our practices. But what isn't seen are acts of kindness and generosity, precisely because they do not create fear, because they create peace. And we don't note those things. And I don't know if, I'm sure you've all been watching the news recently. You could say it's a lot of bad news, you could say it's a lot of good news. It depends how you look at it. And but terrorism really mirrors the world we live in. And it's a world about privilege, about power, about concentration of power. And it's a world about power from birthright or from royalty or from all sorts of things that have nothing to do with heart and soul and connection and community. And what we're witnessing, of course, is the decay of that kind of power. And whatever promises or convenience that concentration of power gave to us in terms of perhaps progress in the world has been, I think, this year completely delegitimized and seen for what it is, and is now being, in a sense, erased and abolished from this planet slowly, painfully, with a great deal of hurt and harm. But we see it in Assad in Syria, Mubarak. We see it with TEPCO, the utility company in Japan. We see it with the IMF, which was so emblematic. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more powerful narrative arc across the sky of the globe about power and its abuse and its corruption and where it comes from and how it thinks, And to think that this person was head of development, for the world and helping developing countries. And to me, it's also emblematic that the acronym of WEA is WEA, WEA, because we're moving from a world of me to we, from privilege to community. And we is a very, very different world. And we are is we acclaim and we assist and we aid, we applaud, it's we are, And it is very difficult at this point in time for a MIA organization to do what a WEA organization does. And I, bless, I bless men's little beanty hearts. No, I'm kidding. I bless men's hearts, but men have been schooled from the very beginning in patriarchy, whether they knew it or not. And they've been schooled in control and how to control things and manage things. And control leads to arrogance. It leads to all sorts of things. It leads to oppression, resentment. It leads to perversion, and it always leads to violence, right? Always, And I don't know how many millennia we have to see this, but I feel like we're at a turning point where, because of this connectivity, because of the way that the world sees itself at one time, that we are now seeing this great transition and movement away from me to we. And we are so fortunate to have a WEA organization. Because as the Free Range Studio film, or just, it's not a film, what do you call that beautiful graphics that they do? I mean, it's just extraordinary animation, but really pointed out the healing of the world and the keys to healing the world have been right in front and around us all along. And it's called 51% of the world's population. It wasn't hidden. And one of my very favorite women in the world is Janine Benyus, the author of Biomimicry, and a biologist who just has a heart as big as the moon. And she wants to find life as a force that creates the conditions that are conducive to life. Life creates the conditions that are conducive to life, right? And this is what WEA is doing, right? Creating the conditions that are conducive to life. And WEA embodies, and you saw that in this song, and this embodiment of joy that started off this program tonight, you know, this sense that if we cannot get any more fulfillment in our lives by accumulation or by gathering things to ourselves, and that our lives are going to fulfill themselves by the degree to which we serve and give our life to other, because that is creating a world that's conducive to life, right? And so I want to thank you, all of you. This in 5 years, it went from hardscrabble, broke, nothingness to this extraordinary night in the Julia Morgan Ballroom. And I want to thank the women who inspire us and who inspire each other, and women all over the world, and Mindy and Amira and Rucha and Beth and Carla and Nikila and Mame and Gemma and Sophie, and they're just extraordinary people. I miss names, I'm sorry, there's so many, but I would just like I'd like to leave, not you applauding me, but you applauding them, because they're just gorgeous and they're doing such a wonderful job. Thank you.